What if everything you ever wanted could be yours, instantly? No effort, no waiting, no failure. Just walk into a small shop, name your desire, and walk out with your dream in your hands. Sounds impossible, sounds like fantasy. But in the quiet town of Marrow Creek, it happened. And by the time the world realized what the shop truly cost, it was already too late. This is not a tale of ghosts or haunted buildings. This is a story about temptation, obsession, and the terrifying truth that the price of desire is never what you expect. Stay with us, because once you hear what happened in Marrow Creek, you may never wish for anything again. Marrow Creek was a peaceful town tucked between wheat fields and low hills. People lived simple lives. They worked honest jobs, raised families, and believed their biggest problems were overdue bills or broken hearts. Nothing extraordinary ever happened there. No crimes, no scandals, no tragedies worth news coverage. It was the kind of town people forgot existed. That changed the morning a new shop appeared on Main Street. Overnight, an empty storefront became Needful Things. The sign was painted in elegant gold letters. The windows displayed objects no one remembered seeing delivered. Yet there were no trucks, no workers, no construction noise. It was simply there. The shop owner arrived the same day. A tall man in a neat grey suit carrying a black leather case. He introduced himself as Mr. Silas Crowe. He spoke politely, smiled rarely, and had eyes that seemed to look directly through people. He told the town he sold special acquisitions. No one understood what that meant, but curiosity spread quickly. By afternoon, townspeople wandered inside, drawn by a strange feeling that the shop had something meant specifically for them. Something they had been missing their entire lives. The first customer was a teenage boy named Eric Miller. He wanted a college scholarship more than anything. His grades were average. His family had no money. Inside the shop, he found a sealed envelope with his name written on it. Mr. Crowe told him, "Take it, it's yours." Eric opened it. Inside was an official scholarship letter from his dream university. He shook with disbelief. "How much?" he asked. Mr. Crowe smiled. "Just a small favor later. No money, no contract, only trust." Eric left euphoric. That night his parents cried with joy. No one asked how it happened. Word spread like wildfire. People lined up outside Needful Things. A widow longing for her wedding ring lost years ago found it displayed in a velvet box. A mechanic desperate for a new truck saw keys hanging on a hook with his name attached. A woman who wanted her cheating husband to love her again found a bottle labeled Devotion. Every person discovered the exact thing their heart craved most, and every time Mr. Crowe asked for the same payment. A favor to be named later. No one refused. Why would they? Their dreams were already in their hands. Within days, Marrow Creek transformed. People who had struggled for years suddenly possessed everything they wanted. Promotions, money, love, success, revenge, beauty, all obtained without effort. The town looked happier than ever, but beneath the smiles, something subtle shifted. People grew secretive, suspicious, possessive of their new gifts. They visited Mr. Crowe often, asking if their items were safe, if the favors would ever be called in. He always answered gently, "When the time comes." The first favor was requested 1 week later. Mr. Crowe visited Eric Miller. He asked Eric to deliver a small package to another customer, a woman named Linda Perez. "Do not open it," he said. Eric agreed. When Linda received the package, she smiled nervously, and later that night slipped it into her neighbor's mailbox. The neighbor, an elderly man, opened it the next morning and found photographs of his wife with another man. By noon, the elderly man suffered a fatal heart attack. No one connected it to the shop, not yet. More favors followed. Small tasks, deliveries, phone calls, anonymous letters, items placed in houses, rumors whispered, mistrust seeded. A police officer found evidence planted in his rival's locker. A married couple received false messages about infidelity. Friends turned against each other over imagined betrayals. The town's harmony began to crack, yet everyone was too busy protecting their precious gifts to notice the pattern forming around them. One resident, school teacher Hannah Doyle, grew uneasy. She had visited the shop but never purchased anything. Something about Mr. Crowe unsettled her. She began writing down every sudden change in the town. Relationships collapsing, accidents increasing, arguments in public spaces. When she compared notes, she realized all affected individuals were customers of needful things. Hannah brought her concerns to the police chief, Robert Hale. He dismissed it as coincidence. After all, how could a shop cause such chaos? Then tragedy struck closer. Hannah's best friend, a nurse named Clara, purchased a bottle from the shop that promised perfect health. Days later, Clara's young son fell ill. Doctors could not diagnose the disease. Desperate, Clara begged Mr. Crowe for help. He smiled and said, "Your favor is due." He instructed her to swap medical records in the hospital database. She did. That night, another child received the wrong treatment and died. Clara's son recovered. Clara never forgave herself, but she could not undo the deal. Hannah confronted Clara and learned about the favor. She realized the shop's gifts were never free. They were trades, not of money, of morality, of humanity. Hannah decided to expose Mr. Crowe. She recorded interviews with victims, gathered evidence, and planned to publish the truth online. The night before she posted it, her computer caught fire. The fire department ruled it an electrical fault. Hannah knew better. She also knew she was being watched. Meanwhile, Chief Hale received a visit from Mr. Crowe. The shopkeeper offered him something irresistible, a signed pardon for his son's past criminal record, a record no one else knew about. Hale accepted. Mr. Crowe then requested a favor, to delay any investigation into the shop. The chief agreed. From that moment, law enforcement stopped asking questions. Needful things continued unchecked. As weeks passed, favors escalated. What began as harmless deliveries became destructive acts. People vandalized property, stole evidence, poisoned pets, spread lies. Each act justified as payment for desires already granted. The townspeople told themselves they had no choice, but deep down, they knew they had sold pieces of themselves. Hannah, now isolated, began secretly filming around the shop. Late at night, she saw customers entering after closing hours. No lights turned on, yet silhouettes moved inside. She heard whispers, but could never record clear audio. One night, she finally confronted Mr. Crowe. She asked him what he really was. He replied, "I am simply a merchant. I provide what humans truly want. You supply the rest." His smile never reached his eyes. Hannah tried to leave town. Her car wouldn't start. She tried the bus. No tickets available. She called for help. No signal. It was as if Marrow Creek would not let her go. That night she found a note at her door. "Every town needs balance. Do not interfere." She realized the shop's influence had grown beyond individuals. It had claimed the entire town. The tipping point came during the town's annual festival. A celebration once filled with laughter and music turned tense. Old grudges surfaced. Accusations flew. Favors were called in simultaneously. One person set fire to another's stall. Someone released aggressive dogs. A fight broke out, then another. Within minutes, chaos engulfed Main Street. By midnight, 3 people were dead and dozens injured. Needful Things remained untouched, its lights glowing calmly amid the destruction. Hannah ran to the shop. She smashed the front window and stormed inside. Shelves of objects gleamed under soft golden light. Mr. Crowe stood waiting, as if expecting her. She demanded he stop. He replied, "You cannot undo what they chose." She grabbed a hammer and began destroying the objects. As each shattered, customers screamed in pain outside, collapsing as if their very souls were tied to the items. Hannah hesitated but continued. Mr. Crowe's expression finally changed. Anger flickered. The air inside the shop distorted. Shadows stretched unnaturally. The humming of unseen energy filled the space. Mr. Crowe's human appearance flickered, revealing something tall and ancient beneath. Hannah realized she was not dealing with a man. She was confronting a force, something that fed on desire. She swung the hammer at him. It passed through as if he were smoke. He whispered, "You cannot destroy need. It is eternal." Outside, townspeople sobbed, clutching broken remnants of their gifts. Without them, their deepest desires returned, but now twisted into despair. Marrow Creek had been addicted to fulfillment, and withdrawal was unbearable. Some turned violent, others turned inward. The town collapsed emotionally overnight. By morning, Needful Things was gone. The building stood empty, windows restored, shelves bare. No sign of Mr. Crowe, no evidence the shop ever existed. Officials declared the riot a tragic outbreak of mass hysteria. The dead were buried, the injured healed. The story faded from national news within weeks, but Hannah's footage survived. She mailed copies to multiple addresses before the festival. Years later, a documentary team discovered the recordings. They showed impossible events. Objects appearing from nowhere. Voices whispering from shelves. Mr. Crowe's eyes reflecting shapes not human. The team attempted to contact Hannah. They learned she vanished shortly after leaving Marrow Creek. Residents who remained in town refused to speak about the incident. They avoided the empty storefront. Some claimed to still hear a doorbell ring at night. Others said they dreamed of Mr. Crowe offering them something new, something greater. They woke terrified of their own wants. Psychologists studying the case suggested mass delusion. Economists blamed sudden wealth shifts. Sociologists cited breakdown of trust. But none could explain the recorded footage. None could explain how 37 people died during the festival from causes that defied medical explanation. None could explain why every victim had once purchased from the shop. Online communities called it the Desire Incident. Some claimed Mr. Crowe was a demon. Others believed he was an alien observer studying human weakness. A few insisted he was simply the embodiment of temptation itself. No theory was proven. No theory was disproven. 10 years later, a new shop appeared in another town. Different name, same golden lettering, same promise. A journalist recognized the pattern. Before he could publish his investigation, he disappeared. His apartment was found empty. Computer wiped. Phone smashed. No trace. Needful Things had returned. Or perhaps it had never left. Perhaps it simply moved to where desire was strongest and resistance weakest. Always offering, always collecting, always feeding. Because the truth uncovered in Marrow Creek was simple. Humans will trade anything for what they want most, even their conscience, even their neighbors, even their souls. And once a community crosses that line together, there is no going back. Trust is broken. Morality bends. Reality itself begins to warp around unchecked desire. Some nights, Former residents swear they see Mr. Crowe in their dreams, opening a black case, revealing something shining inside. They always wake before seeing what it is. Their hearts race, their mouths whisper, "No more." But deep down, they know. If the offer came again, they might accept. So if you ever pass a small shop with a sign reading "Needful Things" and you feel an object inside calling your name, walk away, because the price of desire is never money, it is always you.